The Great Battle of Badr. Are you ready to be taken back in time to the 7th century? Today we're going to talk about one of the most epic battles in history. The Great Battle of Badr, also known as the Battle of the Trench. This battle was between the Muslims and the Quraysh tribe. It took place in the year 624 CE near the town of Badr in present-day Saudi Arabia. The Muslim army consisted of around 310 men, while the Qurayshi army had approximately 1,000 soldiers.
Ho, ho, ho!
Despite being outnumbered 3-1, the Muslims were victorious after a fierce battle that lasted several hours. This victory is considered a turning point in the early history of Islam. The Battle of Badr was a pivotal moment for the newly formed Muslim community in Mecca. In this episode, we'll take a deep dive into the events leading up to the battle, the strategies employed by both sides, and the lasting impact it had on the spread of Islam.
Ho, ho, ho!
Make sure to watch till the end as we explore the bravery, faith, and leadership that ultimately led the outnumbered Muslims to claim a stunning victory against their powerful opponents. So without further ado, let's dive into the incredible story of the Battle of Badr. Before we get into the details of the battle, let's first understand the context. The Prophet Muhammad had migrated from Mecca to Medina in 622 CE with his followers.
Ho, ho, ho!
At that time, Mecca was still under the control of the Quraysh tribe, and they were not happy that the Prophet had left. In fact, they wanted to kill him. Abu Sufyan was the leader of the Quraysh tribe, and he decided to attack the Muslims in Medina. He gathered an army of 1,000 men and set off on his journey. When the Muslim heard that the Meccans were coming, they sent out a scouting party to see how many there were. They came back with the report that there were 1,000 men in the Meccan army.
Ho, ho, ho!
The Muslims were outnumbered 3-1, and they could have easily run away. But the Prophet said, "This is a day of destiny. We have to fight." He knew that this was a test from God, and if they passed it, then Islam would spread far and wide. If they failed, then they might be wiped out. The Muslim army was made up of men of all ages, from young boys to old men. They didn't have much experience fighting in an army, but they were brave and determined.
Ho, ho, ho!
On the other hand, the Meccan army was made up of experienced fighters. They had been raiding and pillaging for years, and they thought that the Muslims would be easy prey. However, they did not know what they were up against. The battle began with both armies shouting insults at each other. Then the Meccans charged forward, thinking that they would win easily. But they soon found out that the Muslims were not giving up without a fight.
Ho, ho, ho!
The Muslims fought bravely, and they were able to hold off the Meccans for a while. But as the battle raged on, they began to tire. They needed help, and help was on the way. During the battle, the Muslims received reinforcements from Medina. Seeing that the Muslims were holding their ground, they knew that they had to do something to help their comrades. As the reinforcements arrived, the Muslims were able to push back the Meccans. The Meccans were now in trouble.
Ho, ho, ho!
They had underestimated the Muslims, and now they were paying the price. The tide of the battle turned when Hamza, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad, entered the fray. He was a fierce warrior who was not afraid of death. His arrival boosted the morale of the Muslims, and they were able to fight even harder. Hamza killed many Meccans, and the Muslims were able to push them back further. As the battle reached its climax, more reinforcements arrived.
Ho, ho, ho!
This time it was Umar, who would later become the second caliph of Islam. His arrival turned the tide of the battle completely in favor of the Muslims. With fresh troops joining the fight, the Muslims were able to trap the Meccans between two hills. This trapped the Meccans, and they were unable to escape. With the Meccans trapped, the Muslims launched a final assault. They fought with all their might, and soon the Meccans were on the run.
Ho, ho, ho!
The Muslims were victorious, and they had won one of the most important battles in the early history of Islam. The outcome of the Battle of Badr had a profound impact on the course of early Islamic history. The victory at Badr was a turning point for the Muslim community in Medina. It established the Prophet Muhammad's authority and legitimacy as a prophet and leader, and it gave the Muslims confidence and strength to continue spreading the message of Islam despite facing persecution and opposition.
Ho, ho, ho!
After the battle, the Muslims continued to grow in number and strength, eventually conquering Mecca and establishing a powerful caliphate that would spread throughout the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond. On the other hand, the defeat at Badr was a setback for the Meccan tribes, particularly the Quraysh, who had dominated Mecca and opposed the spread of Islam. It weakened their power and prestige, and they would never again pose a serious threat to the Muslims.
Ho, ho, ho!
In addition to its strategic and political consequences, the Battle of Badr also had a significant theological and ideological impact. It demonstrated the power and protection of God over his followers, and it reinforced the belief in the justice and righteousness of the Muslim cause. It also showed the courage, determination, and faith of the Muslim community in the face of overwhelming odds.
Ho, ho, ho!
However, it is important to note that while the Battle of Badr was a significant event in Islamic history, it was by no means the only or most important battle that the Prophet Muhammad and his companions fought. They faced many other challenges and battles during their struggle to spread Islam, and each of these had its own unique significance and impact. Nevertheless, the Battle of Badr remains an iconic and legendary event in Islamic tradition, and it continues to inspire Muslims around the world today.
Ho, ho, ho!
Now, here are some interesting facts about the Battle of Badr. Number 1. It was a tactical masterpiece. The Muslim army was outnumbered 3-1, but they were able to use their numbers to their advantage. They set up an ambush and they were able to trap the Meccans between two hills. No. 2. It was a test of faith. The Muslims were outnumbered and they were facing a powerful enemy, but they never lost faith in God. Their belief in God's justice and righteousness gave them the strength to fight on.
Ho, ho, ho!
No. 3. It was a battle of brothers. The Muslim army was made up of men of all ages. They were not a professional army, but they were united by their faith and their brotherhood. They fought together as brothers in arms, and they were able to achieve a victory that seemed impossible. No. 4. It was a decisive victory. The Muslims won the battle decisively. They killed or wounded a large number of Meccans, and they captured Abu Sufyan, the Meccan leader.
Ho, ho, ho!
This was a humiliating defeat for the Meccans, and it would have a profound impact on the future of Islam. No. 5. It was a turning point in history. The Battle of Badr is considered to be a turning point in history. It marked the beginning of the end for the Meccan tribes and the rise of Islam as a major force in the Middle East. We hope you enjoyed learning about the great Battle of Badr. If you want to learn more about similar topics, please let us know in the comments below.
Ho, ho, ho!
We're always looking for ways to improve our videos and make them more interesting for our viewers. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends if you haven't already. Please subscribe to stay up to date on our latest videos. Thank you for watching.
Ho, ho, ho!